Welcome to this special session of Rising Pakistan, in which I'm being joined by two honourable guests, Joanne Frederiksen, who is the Deputy Head of Mission, Australian High Commission here in Pakistan, here in Islamabad. Good morning.
Good morning.
Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you.
And I also have on sets today Kaye, who is the Representative and Country Director of World Food Programme in Pakistan. Assalamu alaikum. Good morning,
Welcome, salam.
All right, so today these two guests, of course, I'll be talking to them on lots and lots of other things as well, but our main focus is going to be whole wheat fortification. And when I say fortification, in which in Urdu we say like nutrition, ghazayat, ghazayat, which is nutrition, and everyone, the government of Pakistan, the provincial governments all over the world, the experts are saying nutritious value of whatever you eat is more important than how much you eat. So that is the main point. But why the Australian government is chipping in to this cause, and what is World Food Programme, what are they doing in Pakistan, and why this fortification project is being implemented in Rawalpindi and Islamabad. So we'll have details on that. But first of all, I'd like to start with Chris and ask him, tell me very briefly, Chris, about World Food Programme, your mission internationally, and your footprint, your kind of work that you guys are doing in Pakistan.
Sure. Well, thanks very much for having me on, having us both on. But WFP is an extraordinary organisation, part of the United Nations family. We're the world's largest humanitarian organisation. We provide food assistance to, last year, over 110 million people around the world in 82 different countries. We're known as as I said, a humanitarian organisation, so we're responding to critical situations, for the most part, in really dire situations, such as in Yemen and South Sudan and some of these other war-torn countries, Syria and so on. And where food is a really critical part of being able to sustain the civilian population in very, very difficult circumstances. Last year we were very honoured to be given the Nobel Peace Prize because of our work in supporting civilian populations in positions of conflict. So,
congratulations on that.
We're very proud of that. Thank you.
Right. So tell me about your work in Pakistan generally, and also a little bit about this particular project.
Sure. Well, Pakistan. We've been in Pakistan for over 40 years, and our program, of course, has evolved considerably over that period. I think we're probably best known, again, for our humanitarian response work. We were very significant contributors in responding to the floods in 2010. We're a major provider of food assistance to people affected by earthquakes and so on. Last year, the floods in Sindh, we were very active. So that's often what a lot of people in Pakistan understand us as a responder to emergencies. But increasingly, we're providing more and more technical support to government to help with strengthening food security generally across the country, and with an increasing focus on strengthening nutrition amongst the population, because that's, as you said in your introduction, a major priority for the government.
Absolutely. Joanne Frederiksen is with us, and she is the Deputy Head of Mission, Australian High Commission here in Islamabad. Why is Australian High Commission, I would say, interested in issues like these? And tell me about your collaboration with World Food Programme, and also you're very closely working on other development issues here in Pakistan as well.
Now, Australia's been a very proud partnership with Pakistan in providing development and humanitarian assistance over many decades. We've focused on areas where we have particular strengths, like agriculture, water security, maternal health and education. And on the humanitarian side, we've worked with World Food Programme quite a lot. The floods in 2010, the earthquake in 2005, and of course most recently we worked with WFP in providing emergency food packages during the Balochistan snow disaster.
Right.
So we've got a long collaboration with World Food Programme, particularly in helping vulnerable communities in some challenging areas like the former tribal areas and remote areas of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa.
True.
And we've worked with WFP also helping them expand their impact, particularly with getting other partnerships like with the government of Pakistan under the ESUS program, which has been so good at supporting livelihoods during the COVID-19 pandemic.
Yeah, ESUS program is also now not really replicated, but people are talking about it in other parts of the globe as well, as a good example on handling or solving such problems. Yes. All right, so now coming to this fortification project itself, why, Chris, why Rawalpindi, Islamabad?
Well, largely because of ease of access. Initially, obviously, we're based here in our headquarters is based here in Islamabad, close with government. But you know, ostensibly, we have this effort is really just a pilot, and to understand exactly how easy it is to be able to have an impact with the support to these small-scale grinders, the Chakkis, and to understand what the take-up can be of fortified flour. The intent is very much to expand it, and the evidence that we've had since we've been going is very, very positive and exciting, and I think that this is something certainly that we can take to a much greater scale across the country.
So this will be scaled up from Rawalpindi, Islamabad to other parts of
very much is the intention, yes.
So the idea is that we add nutritious value to the flour and then people can use it. What is actually added into it?
Okay, so there's a special ingredient called, it's a premix, it's very carefully produced in order to ensure that we get the right balance of different nutrients. So folic acid and iron and a variety of other different nutrients which are critical for health. And you know, this builds a much greater value from a nutritional perspective to what is a fundamental staple for the population of Pakistan. So, because everybody's eating chapati, though chapati on its own, and particularly if it's just simple grain flour, you know, doesn't give you a lot of nutritious value. So, if we can utilize that basic to be able to build up those nutrients, it's obviously a very good thing.
And of course, we have heard that it's good for the lactating mothers, children, and the elderly. So, Joanne, do you think the Pakistani society and community they will buy this notion and they are up for going for nutritious food rather than more of it, like the quantity versus the quality, what they are eating, rather than how much they are eating?
Yes, well, I had the pleasure of visiting one of the small grinders just in the last couple of days.
All right.
And we spoke to him about how the take-up was. Well, they showed us the operation, you know, it's all very good, and how the pre-mixed extra vitamins or essential nutrients were added and how they test it to make sure it's the right strength. And he said that, amazingly, well, the first thing about it, it's so good because they use the whole grain. So it's not super refined flour. All the goodness of the actual wheat grain is left in, plus the nutrients added. And despite it being a little bit more expensive, he said his sales have gone up by like 30, 40, 50% or more.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Despite it being slightly more expensive. And we spoke to one of the program workers who has been very good at getting communication out to the community about how good the flour is. And it's so important to get the right nutrients at such a young age and for expectant mothers, because it affects health for the rest of your life. Yeah.
Absolutely. Tell me about, have you guys experienced the real Pakistani chapati? You must have.
Of course.
Of course?
Of course.
No
Absolutely.
match?
No match with?
No match, you know, all over the world.
Anywhere else in the world, absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
I know the Iranian bread is also good. The Afghan bread, I'm a big fan of the Afghani naan. Yep. But I think the Pakistani chapati it's really nice. What kind of Pakistani cuisine do you like, Joanna? Like, have you tried biryani or something else?
Yes, it's a little hot for me. I have to get used to it.
I know.
But I love the fruit here. It's absolutely fantastic.
The fruit?
Yes, mangoes, cherries, peaches, plums. It's just been amazing.
Exactly. I mean, again, no match of Pakistani mangoes. You know, I was
And
in
we're
Britain.
importing them to Australia now.
You are?
Yes,
Okay,
just very
great.
recently, yes.
Great, interesting. So it's a good news because our show is being watched on PTV Global in Australia as well right now. So good news for Pakistanis over there that you can get Pakistani mangoes in Australia now as well. We will have a quick short break and we will come back. Chris and Joanna both are with me and we will talk on the topic a little more, and also I would like to ask them about their experience in Pakistan. Have they traveled around? Which part of the country have they traveled? How do they see Pakistani as a nation and as a country? Stay with me. This is Rising Pakistan. वेलकम बैक टू राइजिंग पाकिस्तान में आज हमारे दो मेहमान मौजूद हैं, जोआन फ्रेडरिक्सन और क्रिस के, और ये बात बुनियादी तौर पे कर रहे हैं कि हम आटे की फोर्टिफिकेशन करके उसकी ग़िज़ाइयत को कैसे बढ़ा सकते हैं, और ये हुकूमत पाकिस्तान और वर्ल्ड फूड प्रोग्राम जो कि अक़वाम मुत्तहिदा का, यूनाइटेड नेशंस का एक इदारा है, ये किस तरह से एक पायलट प्रोग्राम के तहत रावलपिंडी और इस्लामाबाद की जो छोटी मिल्स हैं, जिसको हम आटा चक्की कहते हैं, जो आटा चक्की से जाके हम आटा लेके आते हैं, उन चक्कियों के साथ, रावलपिंडी इस्लामाबाद की चक्कियों के साथ उन्होंने काम किया और आटे की ग़िज़ाइयत को बढ़ाने का वो काम है, जिसके हवाले से जोआना ने हमें बताया कि इन चक्की के मालिकान ने इनको बताया कि उनकी सेल्स भी बढ़ी हैं क्योंकि लोग अब अपने बच्चों को, अपनी माओं को, बुज़ुर्गों को न्यूट्रिशियस ग़िज़ाइयत से भरपूर आटा देना चाहते हैं. So, just wanted to take everyone on board in Urdu as well. So Chris, tell me about what other projects is World Food Programme doing in Pakistan other than this fortification?
Yeah, well, I mean, this is just one component, part of a suite of things that we're involved in supporting and strengthening nutrition across the country. As Joanna mentioned, we have a very close relationship, a partnership with ESAS, where we're actually providing special nutritious food for children under 2 and pregnant and lactating mothers in 50 or so what we call facilitation centres in districts all over Pakistan. And that's part of an effort to ensure that, again, children under 2 but get the requisite nutritious inputs at an early age. It's so important for their cognitive growth. To be given that kind of nutritious input. Without that, people are stunted. Now, stunting isn't just about height. It really is stunting your cognitive abilities. So, you know, the government investing in this space is terribly important for the future of Pakistan. The smarter and the brighter the kids are, the better chance the country has to really evolve and develop and lead in the world. So this is a really important area of investment for us.
Interesting. So when we talk of fortification of whole wheat, so does Joanna or Chris, maybe you can add as well, does the color or the taste of atta or flour change with this fortification, or should I, as a consumer, should I expect that my one chapati in taste will be different from the other chapati?
I don't think the taste is very much different. I think what people found a bit different was the whole grain being used, so all the goodness of the wheat grain, and that changed the colour slightly, but they've worked out how to grind it a bit more finely so it's not too much different from normal flour.
From normal flour. As a consumer myself, I think more red it is, more attractive it is for me. I don't know, you know, where we say it's more red because the carbohydrates and all that, you know, the nutritionists these days all over the world are saying that less carbs and whole wheat is more healthy. And so Chris, when you're working with these mill owners, what is their plan? This is a short-term project, this is a pilot project. So are they going to make it part of their work ethics and work lifestyle?
Yeah, sustainability is obviously a key question. The premix is at the moment we're providing that. That's part of our commitment.
But in future?
But in future, that's it. So there is a marketing issue here. ensuring that the take-up is real, that people do appreciate the additional value of the nutritious flour, and are willing to pay the additional 1 or 2 rupees more for the quality. And the evidence is proving to be the case, which is really exciting. People are looking now, according to the Chakkis that I went to visit a few of them last week, and restaurant owners are interested in taking it, and so on and so forth. So it's becoming more of a standard. This is really our hope, and where people recognise the value of a more nutritious flour rather than this clean white flour, which actually doesn't really do you as very much good.
Absolutely. So I know families, even in my mother used to specifically go to one particular Chakki in Rawalpindi all her life. I mean, we live in Islamabad, but she would make an extra effort to go to Rawalpindi, to that Chakki, and buy the whole wheat flour. I mean, there are many other families who are doing this. So yeah. I think that was a very intelligent idea to reach out to these small mill owners and take them on board, because they are actually linked and rooted to the communities. So I'm really hopeful that in future, when you scale it up to other parts of the country, I think this is going to be taken up, and the very idea is going to be bought by the communities really easily. Yeah, you want to add something?
Well, yeah, well, we certainly hope so. I mean, we know that 70% of domestic flour is bought from Chakkis. So
70%?
70%. So which is extraordinary. So if we're able to really spread that...
In Pakistan? In Pakistan, yeah. 70% of flour is bought...
Through the Chakkis,
through the small local Chakkis.
Exactly.
Interesting.
So we need to, I mean, there's obviously commercial flour as well, and we're certainly covering that as part of our work with the National Nutrition Alliance. There is a body which is focused on this too. So
interesting. All right, guys. So tell me about Pakistan. Tell me about Pakistanis.
They're very friendly. Yes.
Okay.
Very warm.
But you arrived only some months ago, and
yes,
these have been COVID times, so
yes.
You must not have had the chance to visit around the country.
Well, despite our standard operating procedures that we've had to live with in the High Commission, I've managed to visit the Kartas Raj temples. I'm very interested in history and ancient history.
Right, so Kartas Raj. Yeah.
Yes, and Taxila.
Taxila, yeah.
Which is very interesting. Yes,
that's
such a mix of cultures.
Exactly, and that's our real history. We are so proud of that. But Chris, I think you've been here in Pakistan many years ago. You've lived here.
I lived here 20 years ago. Yes, with my young family, and we had a marvelous time here. I was my kids still know very much, as we were talking earlier, that the best mangoes come from Pakistan because they remember it from that day. And we've had the opportunity, because I've worked for the UN for that amount of time, to sample mangoes in a number of other countries. No question. Pakistan mangoes, the best in the world.
Pakistan mangoes, the best in the world, yes.
So, yeah.
And tell me, Chris, in what way do you think Islamabad has changed in these 20 years?
Yeah, I mean, I'm lucky enough to live in close to the Margalla Hills, and that area of Islamabad really hasn't changed very much at all. Yeah, I was really pleasantly surprised coming back. I mean, you've got more security checkpoints, but those are all beginning to be taken away, I think, more
disappear
and more.
Slowly.
Disappear slowly. I think the biggest change has been in Rawalpindi. Driving down to Rawalpindi, I don't recognise it from 20 years ago. The growth and the development has been extraordinary. But Islamabad itself, really hasn't changed very much at all. I'm still seeing the same shopkeepers in some of the markets that were there 20 years ago. It's lovely.
Right, yeah. But I miss cycling around Islamabad. There are much more cyclists now in Islamabad, but as a child, 20, or not 20, but maybe 40 years ago, when I used to cycle around the city, yeah. I still say that I'm from Islamabad and I miss my village, Islamabad. It was a small little town, but now it's huge, it's big. All right, so towards the end of the conversation, Joanna, maybe what would you like to tell to lactating mothers and children who are watching my show right now? Why should they use this fortified wheat flour? What is in this flour for for the mothers, because they are the decision makers in the household. What is to be cooked, where do we get it from? So what would you like to tell them? Why should they buy the fortified wheat, whole wheat flour?
Well, flour is such an essential item, and bread is, you know, one of the basic foodstuffs. So it's such an easy way of getting the right nutrients. So young lactating mothers, expectant mothers, children really need things like iron and folic acid and zinc and B12. So they're essential, and this is such an easy way to get the right nutrients to your family at the right time of their lives, which will set them up with good health for the rest of their lives.
Absolutely, absolutely. क्योंकि इसके अंदर just a quick wrap up of the points in Urdu कि ये जो fortified wheat flour है साथियों, इसके अंदर ख़ास बात ये है कि इसमें zinc, iron, B12 और folic acid को मिलाया जाता है आटे के अंदर, ताकि वो माएँ जो बच्चों को दूध पिला रही हैं, माएँ ख़वातीन खुद, वो बच्चियाँ जो कि ग्रोइंग एज के अंदर हैं, टीनेज गर्ल्स, बॉयज़, बुज़ुर्ग अफराद, यानी आपके आटे के अंदर आपकी ग़िज़ाइयत को बढ़ा दिया जाता है। उसके अंदर ये 4 चीज़ें मिला के, जिंक, फॉलिक एसिड, B12 और आयरन। और ये एक पायलट प्रोग्राम के तहत ऑस्ट्रेलियन हाई कमीशन और वर्ल्ड फूड प्रोग्राम के ने रावलपिंडी इस्लामाबाद की कुछ चक्कियों के अंदर उस आटे को फोर्टिफाई किया, फोर्टिफिकेशन उसकी की, और उसके बहुत ज़बरदस्त नताइज आ रहे हैं। लोग जाके चक्कियों पे फोर्टिफाइड आटा मांगते हैं, जो कि अभी हमें क्रिस ने बताया कि इसको अब अपस्केल भी किया जाएगा। यानी अभी सिर्फ ये पायलट प्रोग्राम था रावलपिंडी और इस्लामाबाद में, लेकिन अब इसको पाकिस्तान के मुस्तकबिल में, फ्यूचर में, पाकिस्तान के दूसरे शहरों और टाउन्स तक भी ले जाया जा सकता है। Chris, maybe one last question is that if somebody is watching my show right now, not in Rawalpindi and Islamabad, maybe in Multan or Vihari or Sakhar or any other part of the country, and he's a mill owner, he's into this business, and he is getting attracted to what we are talking about, what should he or she do?
Well, I think there's a National Fortification Alliance. You know, what we're doing and what we're showing and presenting today, I think, is demonstration that how relatively easy it is to make a difference. We need to ensure that it's a program which is not just provided for by international organizations, but one which is provided for by the government. So, you know, of course, that's the ultimate aim. That we can have a truly national fortification program which supports all the Chakkis throughout Pakistan.
Throughout Pakistan.
And the extent to which we can, as international actors, promote that, support that, of course, that's what this is really all about. So get in contact with the National Fortification Alliance, show your interest, and you know, let's build up a serious momentum around this movement. It'd be
exactly.
Great.
Because most of the times, since I'm also in the development sector for the last many years, what I observe is that sometimes these initial projects, donor-driven projects, they die down once the pilot phase is over. So the ownership of the mill owners themselves, the ownership of the communities themselves, the demand has to be generated, only then the mill owners. So for that, I think the will and passion to work towards this end is immensely important.
One final point. I mean, the good news is that the government is extremely committed to this work. I mean, it's been made very clear, I think, that addressing the issue of stunting is a very high priority. So, you know, I think the willingness is there. We just need to build that momentum.
The community demand is there too.
Yeah.
The community demand, as you said that you visited the mill, the community demand is increasing. I would say it's not there, maybe it's increasing, because of course when the communities know that this is available, how would they go to a Chakki and ask for it? Joanna, thank you very much. Chris, thank you very much.
Thank you, pleasure.
It has been a pleasure to have you on my sets, and good luck, and see you soon at some other platform doing some good work when it comes to nutrition for mothers, children and elderly of Pakistan. All the best.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
आपका बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया. आपने राइजिंग पाकिस्तान के इस स्पेशल एपिसोड में मेरा और मेरे ख़ास मेहमानों का साथ दिया। बात को मुख्तसरन आप तक इसी तरह हम पहुँचाएँगे कि जो ग़िज़ाइयत है, जो न्यूट्रिशस वैल्यू है, ये भी देखें कि आप कुछ भी खा रहे हैं, आप आम खा रहे हैं, आप अनार खा रहे हैं, आप आटा, आलू, जो भी चीज़ है, ये देखिए कि आपके और आपके बच्चों के लिए उसकी न्यूट्रिशस वैल्यू क्या है। और वो आटा जिसके अंदर ये इंग्रेडिएंट्स, जिसको हम फोर्टिफिकेशन कहते हैं, जिस प्रोसेस से गुजरा हो, वो आपकी सेहत के लिए, आपके बुज़ुर्गों की सेहत के लिए, बच्चों की सेहत के लिए बहुत ज़रूरी है, बहुत अहम है। आप अपनी जब चक्की पे जाएं तो फोर्टिफाइड फ्लावर को डिमांड करें, उसके बारे में जानने की कोशिश करें और उसको इस्तेमाल करें। बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया। ज़िंदगी रही, फिर मिलेंगे। अपना बहुत सा ख्याल रखिएगा। खुदा हाफिज़ एंड गुड बाय।